So in this video I'm going to talk to you about a couple of the techniques that I use to prevent aperture flicker and get smoother time-lapse sequences. Hello, my name is Zaran and I'm from Stopped Clock Imaging. So what is aperture flicker and how can we prevent it from ruining our time-lapse sequences? Well, aperture flicker is caused by mechanical inconsistencies within your lens. When you take a picture, the aperture shuts down to the aperture you select. Now, each time that happens, very small mechanical inconsistencies within the aperture give you slight differences in exposure. During normal shooting situations, that is barely noticeable at all, but when you shoot hundreds and hundreds of frames with a time-lapse sequence and you stitch all those differences in exposure together, when you play the film back, it presents itself as this annoying flicker in the background. So how can we prevent this annoying flicker from ruining our sequences? Well, the first method is the easiest, and that is just to shoot wide open. By shooting at the widest aperture your lens allows, means that the aperture mechanism doesn't actually move when you take a picture. Now, although simple, this does present a couple of problems within itself, such as the depth of field. When you're shooting at wide apertures, your depth of field is going to be reduced. Certainly when I'm shooting time-lapse, I want to have as much front-to-back sharpness as possible. So shooting at wider apertures is not going to allow that. Also, lenses are generally better stopped down to say f5.6, f8 and f11. So by shooting at say f2.8 or f4, you're not going to be getting the best image quality for your lens. Now the second problem you're going to run up against shooting wide open is exposure. To balance the exposure of the extra light coming through onto your sensor, you're going to have to increase the shutter speed. Now by doing that, you're going to create very staccato, very scatty looking time-lapse sequences. I know when I shoot, I like to drag the shutter, so I don't really like to go above 1/60th of a second because it creates a lot smoother looking motion within your sequences. So to combat that, you can use ND filters, neutral density filters, to reduce the amount of light going into your lens. That in turn can reduce the image quality and also create colour cast. So there's pros and cons to shooting wide open, probably more cons than there are pros. The second method I've used is to use manual aperture lenses. These allow you to lock the aperture into position using the ring on the lens itself. Now bear in mind that some smaller cameras like the D50-100 from Nikon, for example, won't allow you to use the aperture ring upon the lens. And also other Nikon bodies like the D750, you have to enable the option to use the aperture ring within the menu system itself. So the third and final method is to shoot in live view. Now this is the method that I use most of all. I find it more convenient and it allows me to use my automatic lenses. So when you shoot in live view, the aperture is stopped down and it's locked there, so it doesn't move when you take a picture. Now as far as I'm aware, this works with most of Nikon's full frame cameras. I'm not sure about their crop sensors bodies. I know my D50-100 it doesn't work with, but you have to check your model to see if this will work with that with your system. Now although it's a good system, it does have some problems within itself, which is mainly related to battery. So if you're going to be doing like a 3 or 4 hour astro lapse, star time lapse, then you're probably going to need either a battery grip or some sort of external power. But for me, live view is definitely the way to go. It's completely transformed the way I shoot my time-lapse sequences and I highly recommend it. It's just great. So there you have it, 3 methods that I've used to combat aperture flicker. I've used each to varying degrees of success, so you have to weigh up pros and cons and find one that fits with you. There are some other methods out there which I haven't touched on today, but I hope you enjoyed the video and you can take something from it and use it to improve your sequences. So as ever, thanks for watching, and if you like this video and you want to see more, please hit subscribe and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.